do you think history favors that ideology? Where history, eventually, a group of men stand up and say, yeah, listen, we've had enough, this is not going to be happening?
I do believe that in history it's always been the same. I believe it's always been a select group of good men who are up against evil. And I think they've always been outnumbered, and it's always been difficult, and they've always suffered. All of them. When I was in jail, the amount of letters I got from people, and it was just names of, and I'm not comparing myself to these people. This is the letters I got of Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, everyone who was unjustly imprisoned. Everyone's gone to jail. Because when you stand up for something, they end up trying to put you in jail. When you're a good person trying to do good, the evil, the matrix as a whole, is going to try and throw you in jail. That's what they do. That's the punishment for it. And history's always been the same. It's always been a small group of outgunned people who stand up, who are, to the detriment of themselves, too principled to allow injustice and evil to thrive. And they stand up and they're outgunned and they're outnumbered, but they're like, no, I have to tell the truth. If you play a video game and you're the good guy, when you get to the boss at the end, he has more life than you. He has more hit points and he moves faster and he's a cheater. He cheats. He cheats. The bad guy cheats. But you still win because you're good. And that's how the battle's always been. I would love for the world to be another way, but I don't think it's ever been that way. I think if you find any time in history, it's always been the same story. And now I'm in the position where, like I said earlier, what am I supposed to do? Do I have a life path in which I can genuinely help people? And do I have a life path in which I can genuinely do some damage to the evil to the world? Or am I just going to disappear like a coward and let them lie about me and do my time and shut up and delete my Twitter account and just go away?
You know how sometimes, like, I've been in sales for quite a while. If a guy who doesn't have any responsibilities and he's single, he has a $30,000 a month, boom, he's going to Vegas, having a good time. Yeah. And then he doesn't work as hard until he runs out of his $30,000. 3 months later, I got to go make the $30,000 again. Oh my God, panic, I got to pay my bills. I'm behind on the phone. Yeah. Let me buy this watch and make 40 grand. I'm going out again. So it's very inconsistent, right? And then as you're in sales longer, you're like, okay, the profile of somebody that's going to be more consistent is not a single guy. It's a guy that's married, kids, homeowner, and all those three are signs of what? Married, commitment. Yep. Homeowner, commitment, responsibility. Kids, commitment, responsibility. Yep. Last time we didn't talk about your kids. Yep. At this point, I think it's public video, your daughter running to me, give daddy a kiss, all this stuff. Everybody knows at this point. Yep. When you're in jail, sometimes I sit there and I got books on my desk. I'm like 50 books behind. And I like to read. I know you don't talk about reading a lot, but I like to. I'm 50 books behind. But I bet if you're in a place where you're in jail, you're forced to think. You're forced to, Andrew, you don't have the phone, you don't have the computer, there is no emergency podcast. Yeah. Go away and think. You're sitting there, you're like, okay, family, kids, you know, what it's really all about. Yeah. Those decisions, when you think about your kids, does it influence you to say, oh, what are you doing this? You know, why are you going through all this stuff? Maybe you got to make some changes in your lifestyle. Yeah. And if yes, in what areas? Yeah. Or does it say, no, double down even more because I'm fighting for them?
And that's a really interesting question. I'll start by saying how thoughts in jail are different than thoughts in the outside world, because this is actually an observation I had. In the outside world, I don't think you carry a thought for very long that you don't want to carry. You can sit and think about something if you want to. But if you don't want to think about something, you just get your phone out. Something pops in your head, oh, I don't do it. You get your phone out and distract yourself. Or you get on your laptop, or you call someone, or you do something, right? It's not very often in the real world. It's not very often in the real world. You have a thought you don't want in your head, and you have nothing to take it away. You have no phone, you have no outside interaction, you have nowhere to go.
What a perspective.
Nothing. You're just stuck with it. You're stuck with that thought. So there were times in jail where, for the first time, like I have a lot of mental control, but there was the first time ever I'm battling with my own mind saying, I don't want to think about this. And I'd put another thought in the way. It was on the door. It was knocking on the door all the time. And this is for weeks. Because every day is the same. You never get the outside interaction. And you also, what made it worse is, you never get the answer. You know, like the open loop. If you ever say to somebody, I'm going to tell you something, I'll tell you later. And it bothers them. That's what jail's like. Because you might think of something. Doesn't matter what it is. I won't say what my thought was, but I'll give you an example. Let's say I thought, when did Constantinople fall? What year? I can't just Google it. I don't know. So it's stuck in your head, right? So if you have this negative thought, you don't know the answer. Normally in life, when you want to know something, you find out. But in jail, you don't. So you're like, I don't know. You got this in your head and you're like, I can't get this out of my head. So when you have a negative thought, especially if there's an open loop to it, You need to know something, or you want to know something. You can't get it out of your mind. I would sit there for hours just meditating, trying to just keep the door closed on negative thoughts. It's really difficult. It's a really strange experience. And maybe in normal jail in Western countries where you get to go and interact with people, you can distract yourself. But I was stuck in a room for 93 days in one room. I did not leave. That was where I was. I was allowed to go to the fridge once a day, which is a 3-meter walk and back. That is it in my room.
You and Tristan are in the same room or no?
At the beginning we weren't, but then we ended up in the same room.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the thoughts in jail are very pervasive. And it's also a long time, maybe never, in the outside world where I had a thought in my head for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You just satisfy the problem. You fix the issue in the real world. In jail, you can't do that. So yeah, family and kids, and those are the positive things that you do think about. But it's difficult because I think of children, I think of legacy. And then if you're going to think of your legacy via your children, you have to think of your legacy via your actions. And then you have to sit and by extension go, well, truly, truly on my deathbed, truly, will I be happier if I gave up or if I continue to tell the truth? I'm scared of the regret of thinking, you know what, I was the most famous man in the world and every man on earth was listening to me and I was really making a difference, but I got scared. I don't think I can live with that. I don't think I can live as a coward. I'd feel like a pussy. I just feel like a wimp. And sometimes inside of men, that's all it takes for us to do the most stupid things there is. The idea of feeling like a coward. A man will run into a burning building to not be a coward. If the firefighter, they go, there's children in there, and the whole building's on fire. It's like, well, I can't be a coward. Oh, fuck it. And you'll risk your life. It's something that's built inside of us, honor and pride. It's something that should be. It's what they're trying to take away from us. But it's what used to be built inside of men. And I just feel like I can't give up. I know what I'm doing is good. I know what I'm teaching is good. I know that people don't like it, but I know I'm not teaching anything that's bad. And yeah, I want my children to be happy, but I have daughters too. And how do you make sure that your daughters are secure and have a good future? Well, I think you do that by building good men. How else do you do it? My daughter is mine now, but she won't be mine forever. She's going to marry somebody. I like the idea of her marrying a good man with honor and principle, a man like me. I don't want to marry some idiot. So they call me a misogynist and I'm anti-woman. I'm pro-woman. The best way you can improve the lives of women is make men, better at being men. Because when a man is a good man, he's good for all of society, including women. He's good for everyone around him when he's good at being a man. So I feel like I'm helping them as well by extension. And it's difficult. And yeah, I can't say with honesty that I strongly considered giving up. It never crossed my mind. It was there for a second, do I need to do this? And after like half a second, it was like, yeah, I do. I don't know why. I can't. It doesn't make logical sense.
So kids didn't influence it one way or another?
Kids made me want to do it more.
Kids made you want to do it more?
Kids made me want to do it more.
Got it.
I look up to my father as a hero, and I would hate for my sons to look up at me and not see me as a hero. Because that's how I believe you should see your dad, as a hero. And I feel like and you're not a hero without an enemy, and you're not a hero without a fight.